Welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Magazine Live, and I am back once again, your host Q, coming to you live from my mother's basement, and I'm joined by my fellow one-lettered co-host P. How goes it, P?
Oh, hey there. It goes quite well. The contagion continues to spread. We live in the end of times, the best of times, the worst of times. I'm ready to go. Who is joining us today on this Thursday, November 17th?
We are going to be joined by none other than Nico and Opti from Simply Bitcoin in just a moment. Down to clown with these guys, especially after we got to hang out with them last week over in LA. But let's kick things off with some Bitcoin Magazine news on this Thursday, November 17th, because I have practically been living under a rock. And let me just say, I've been surprised, to say the least, at some of the things I've come out and found. I'm going to start with, the ongoing troubles for SBF or lack thereof. I don't know how this kid did it, but somehow instead of SBF having Congress call into question their behaviors, their actions, and the way they handled just their business dealings, it is CZ and Binance that are under congressional scrutiny per the block. The likely next chairman of the House Financial Services Committee says that Binance's role in the collapse of FTX is expected to be one of the focuses of a recently announced hearing on the topic. So for the finance people, what you're saying is, if I'm a major hedge fund that takes out a large short position on a company that ends up going bankrupt because of my short position, I should then be called under congressional scrutiny, correct? Right? Because that's what happened with GameStop, right, Chris? That's what they did. The big hedge fund got in trouble for their short position, right?
Fuck these people. God damn it. It is
laughable.
So annoying.
It is.
Like, I wanted to explain
egregious.
it through that lens because, like, on the one hand, like it can kind of get blown out of proportion in the way that it has been by these representatives, by Congress, in essence, by saying like, oh, it's the Wild West over there. Like, what this guy did is so wrong. Like, we got to figure out like what role they had. It's like, motherfucker, go up to New York City and look at all the hedge funds that donate to you. And I promise you're going to find plenty who did that, if not shadier things, to businesses that feed Americans here on this country right now. But what do I know?
You're absolutely
I'm not an accredited investor, so I can't make judgment. Kevin O'Leary, though, he should be making judgments and claims.
Nancy Pelosi is also an accredited investor on that.
Of course she is. When you make as much as she does in the stock market, you better.
Yeah, no, this is so ridiculous to me. There are so many aspects of this story that are infuriating, upsetting, just appear to be blatant fraud. The fact that they are explicitly saying, oh, by the way, we will be looking into CZ's involvement here is, in my opinion, a portent of things to come, which is they don't want SBF to look too bad because he's donated a fuck ton of money to all their campaigns, and so many public figures are, they're basically, they stand to be very embarrassed by the situation.
I think to your point, P, like they will just be deemed guilty by association. If you find this bad actor guilty of some sort of crimes, whatever he used that money for is now tainted, and anyone who received it is then tainted as a result. But SBF isn't necessarily out of the woods yet. We're hearing reports now that the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office is preparing criminal charges against SBF and FTX for defrauding customers. There's a caveat in all of this, and that is that, to your point, P, like, of these people who receive money from SBF, the person leading this investigation against him is none other than Maxine Waters, who received a sizable portion of campaign money from FTX and SBF's mom's super PAC.
Yeah, and this comes only after the news of like, hey, we're looking into Binance and CZ, but we finally got around to looking at SBF. The guy that literally bankrupt or evaporated billions of dollars came later after like, hey, this Binance guy, he did something. He caused this thing to blow up. It's like, no, maybe the guy that was committing potential fraud should be brought in first, but maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Look, you guys, he said he was going to give away. Yeah, he said he was going to give away billions, and he did. It just wasn't clear that it was going to be other people's billions because he has none.
Can we, like, I know you guys talked about this a little bit, but like the Vox thing, do you just, let me ask it in this way. Do you feel like SBF is
Well, you got to set the scene for our audience. What happened? What are you talking
for the
about?
audience? Essentially, there's a report coming out of Vox where he sent a bunch of DMs to a reporter, more or less claiming that his whole shtick of like, I'm this like guy, I'm going to donate half of my money for this, like stop climate change, do this or that. It was all a giant troll. And he was just trolling everyone to get like sort of the approval and blessings for the powers that be. Like just genuinely, do you believe anything this man says anymore at this point in time?
Yeah, I'll caveat for the audience. I didn't include this in our stories because I literally couldn't. I didn't think it was true. I literally thought they were photoshopped. I thought it was fake. I'm like, oh, that's a funny joke, like whatever. But like more and more is coming out that those are potentially, real conversations between journalists.
He has
and him.
confirmed that they were real conversations now.
But whether they're real or not is not the question I'm asking. Whether you believe that, like,
journalistic integrity
he sent
nothing
those
on this show.
No, listen. He sent those words, but dude, at one point he also said the words of like, I want to help stop climate change. So if I'm going to no longer believe that what you were saying about that is true, why then am I believing what you're saying this time around is true? Like that's the only question I present, and I'm only presenting it to keep my job because I may or may not have told our CEO yesterday, like, no way SBF is a giant troll. Like, you're falling for his psyop.
What? Dude, I don't know what the fuck you're smoking. He is
Dude,
not
a lot right now.
Look, SBF has always been a piece of shit. We've been talking about him being a piece of shit forever. I don't know why you're surprised. You're like, oh my gosh, it turns out that the effective altruism stuff was just total garbage, even after he's like, guys, it was total garbage. By the way, if you haven't seen these Vox tweets, we don't have time to call them up on the screen, but you should go check them out because they are pretty staggering. A direct quote of his is somebody's like, wait, come on, this is, are you saying that this is bullshit? Like there's going to be like winners and losers. It's not actually altruism. And he was like, see, it's something like, yes, tee-hee-hee. Like that's a direct quote. Go look them up. They're fucking crazy. But we got to keep moving. We got so much stuff to go into, and we want to make sure we're able to cover all of it. Q.
You have the next story, P.
By Q, I meant P, myself, and I'm delivering it to you right fucking now. Deal with it. Okay. We live in a two-tiered justice system. You guys know about the Facebook Libra situation. They were like, yo, we're launching our own currency. And the US government was like, get fucked right now. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail. Worth pointing out that when Facebook announced the mere white paper for Libra on 6/18/2019, it took less than 24 hours for them to be called to testify in front of both the Senate and the House. Meanwhile, during the complete and utter meltdown of FTX, where they are unscrupulously misappropriated $10 billion of customer funds, nothing has happened so far. This is a quote from David Marcus, who was involved in the Libra situation, and he's absolutely right, despite the fact that Facebook is a giant monster that wants to send its tentacles through your internal organs, straight up into your brain, and then liquidate your personality. He's right about this. What the fuck is going on? Why has there been no public outcry, or rather no public call to action? Not a public call to action, a call to action where these groups, Congress, the Senate, should be bringing in FTX, SBF. They should be announcing their plans. They should be very publicly denouncing this, but they're not. They're waiting to see what happens because their hand is clearly in that cookie jar as well, and they're trying to figure out how to promote as many puff pieces as possible so that they can either separate their own personal brands and the brands of these major political figures from SBF, or figure out how to basically not set themselves into a situation where that money gets clawed back.
I'll take this one, P. Basically, what they're basically saying is Facebook did not write fat enough checks for the people that were currently in office. That's Mark Zuckerberg is trying to take over the world, but you got to pay, you got to grease some palms, you got to hand out some money. I think that they saw Facebook as also a bigger threat. I mean, I think Facebook has over 2 billion active users every year, which is like absurd when you think about it. I think central banks are like, yo, we can't let this guy start printing money for free. We got to be the only ones that do that. So yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to. Well, things, if they can't get more crazy than they already are, in 2 weeks' time, the New York Times, reputable, great news source. I'm completely kidding. They are writing fluff pieces for SBF out the wazoo. On November 30th, they were supposed to have a little event gala with the hosts of our four favorite people: Sam Bankman-Fried, Larry Fink, CEO of Blackrock, Zelensky of Ukraine, the president of Ukraine. They're at war. I don't know why he's going to New York Times dinners or maybe live streaming in. And then our favorite Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen. So the admittance to get into this was $2,400. And then I don't know if they take that $2,400 and then pay the politicians back, because I am assuming those are the people that will be there. But yeah, there's, in this clown world of it all, these were the four people that were going to be at the New York Times planned, hosted live event out of New York City.
Unfucking believable. Our next story.
No, keep going.
All right. Also, I forgot to give you shit about how great your hair looks. You've got sort of like a mad scientist vibe going where it's asymmetrical. You got like on the one side, it's kind of like fluffing out. And then on the other side, it's a little bit tighter. As always, I'm very jealous.
Fuck you.
You sound like you had a little stroke there. It's just like, all right. History repeats itself, my friends. Binance is relaunching its bid for the bankrupt lender Voyager. It is hard to keep track of the number of companies that have gone belly up during this period of crypto contagion. So many. Voyager was one of them early on. And by early on, I mean a month ago. Previously, the Voyager sale saw FTX emerge as the quote-unquote white knight, beating out Binance. We now know that the only reason that FTX was acting in this apparently altruistic manner for companies like Voyager and others was because they were desperately trying to protect their own books and maintain the facade that they were solvent and good to go. If CZ hadn't, put the headshot, we might still not know that everything was as fucked up as it turns out it was, but that's what's going on. Binance announced deposits of USDC, their Sol token, and USDT have been temporarily suspended. OKX said it will delist USD Solana and USDT Solana token and will no longer support depositing or withdrawal of the corresponding crypto. That's where we are as of right now.
All right, Pete. Thank you very much for that quick little update. Chris, is the doc back in order now? Thank you. So let's talk FTX again. Specifically John Ray, a character that very few, if anyone, knows. John Ray, the CEO of Enron, after Enron got into its whole debacle. Do you have a primer on Enron? TLDR?
They were a company during the internet.com bubble. They were using their employees' funds to prop up their stock price. In the event that it crashed, when a lot of things in the .com bubble, they were basically swimming naked, similar to what happened to FTX. And then there was a lot of laws that came out after the 2001, 2002 .com crash, basically saying companies, that was the other thing, they were forcing their employees to prop up the stock. They also did a 50% sale of their company stock to their employees. And they said, you can't like normal 401ks have restrictions of like what you can invest in. You can't just funnel it only into your company stock. So they did, at the very end.
Where else have we heard that story?
Yeah, exactly.
In the news.
Yep.
So like GAAP accounting, for example, generally accepted accounting principles, like that formed on the heels of this Enron debacle, for example. John Ray was the CEO of Enron as it sort of blew up. He was brought in to fix this company, like as it heads into bankruptcy. He is now the CEO of FTX as they head into bankruptcy. And he has come out and said, and I kid you not, I'm going to just direct quote, never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information as occurred here. Here being FTX, his career including Enron. Like Enron is still like 20 years later, like looked at as one of the worst incidents of fraud in the public markets. And you are now seeing, no, I can't get close to the mic for you, Yellow, or camera for you, Yellow. I'm crippled and broken, you asshole. Yeah, I think the importance of this goes back, I think, to conversations you're seeing all throughout Bitcoin Twitter of like the regulatory reach that's going to come on the tail end of this. What is that going to look like, and who and what are they going to go after? Are they going to go after exchanges? Are they going to go after just users of the protocols in general? We've seen them go after a service like Tornado Cash. Like this is going to be, I think, unfortunately, one of those moments that people who are in this space now, in the same way that you hear a lot of people talk about Mount Gox 9 years later, a lot of people are continuing to reference the block size war 5 years later. This FTX debacle will be looked at and continue to be discussed as multiple classes come in. And I don't think the Celsius BlockFi Luna part of it is going to be nearly as remembered or discussed as often in the same way the FTX of it will be.
No, I think it's all related. I don't
because
think
FTX went out and bought all those assets.
No, because that was in large part what led to this. Like the 3AC blow up is what kicked off this cascade, and then that has led us to where we are here. So I think it's all part of the same process. And I agree, though, this is definitely the most spectacular explosion that we've seen so far in the Bitcoin space. Well, not the Bitcoin space, obviously, the larger shitcoin space, but it affects Bitcoin.
No,
I think I'll say one other thing, which is I do think that as sad as it is, I think it is much better that this blow up happened now. That is to say, as I said, it is possible that if CZ had not seen what was going on and basically said to himself, I can potentially take out one of my competitors, it's possible that this wouldn't have come to light until the next cycle. And if that happened, it would be even bigger at that point. So as horrible as this is, as much as it has depressed the Bitcoin price, which is, the only thing that, of course, we as Bitcoin maximalists, are really tracking on in a direct way or are affected by in terms of, overall net worth and all that shit. I think it is infinitely better that this has happened and this has all happened now rather than like 4 years from now in the next cycle.
Yeah, I agree with P. It's good to wash out the bad malinvestment. This wasn't even just malinvestment. This was just fraudulent investment. I know Marty Bent was on a podcast recently and he was saying like what really was sending his radars off last summer was when FTX, they raised 400 million at one of their, C or D rounds, but then they were spending like $2.2 billion. So they raised 400 million, but then they're outspending 2.2 billion. It's like, I don't think that's how that works. Like, spending basically 4x or however much more than they were bringing in, which is crazy.
Super flagrant, ridiculous, insane. I think the next story is mine.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. I'm fucking ready. I'm psyched up. I got my air horn in honor of Opti, who's going to be joining us, who pioneered the air horn, invented it. I want to focus us back onto things that are important, which is to say developments in the Bitcoin space. One of my personally favorite Lightning wallets is Blixt wallet, which is produced by Hampus. It is a bleeding edge Lightning wallet, not for the faint of heart, but there's a new release that's V0.6.1, which includes multipath Lightning payments by default. Well, multipath payments are where one of the limitations of the Lightning Network is it can be difficult to send very large payments through the Lightning Network because, of course, the payment size is limited by the size and the balance of the channels that you can find routes through, right? Because the Lightning Network is this giant magical spider web, and you don't have to be directly connected to an individual node or an individual person who is using a node in order to be able to send them payments. But what you can do instead is you can bounce payments through the entire spider web. There is a a system called multi-path payments, which allows you to essentially split a single payment into multiple different Lightning transactions, and then they kind of reconnect at the endpoint at the person's node. Blixt wallet, which is one of the most advanced mobile wallets out there, now includes this by default, which is very, very cool. Blixt wallet is also interesting because you are effectively running your own fully, independent Lightning node using neutrino filters on your mobile device when you are using this specific wallet. Check it out. It's very fun. It lets you see all the channels that you're opening and really gives you deep insight into how the Lightning Network works if you are trying to learn all about it. Let's keep going.
So movement passports. I know there was a lot of tinfoil hat wearing people in 2020 saying, yep, this is the way to usher in digital IDs and movement passports. Well, looks like that dystopia is potentially coming true. So G20 leaders have signed a declaration which states that vaccine passports will be adopted to facilitate all international travel. This means any vaccination the WHO determines you should or must have, you will have to get in order to travel, changing your rights and freedoms forever right in front of our eyes. There is silence from the mainstream media. Obviously, it's like, oh, why is this the case? Well, the WHO does a lot of lobbying and paying for mainstream media. We see it a lot of times with like Pfizer, like sponsoring all of CNN, like, oh, sponsored by Pfizer, and all those various things. I do not think this is a good thing. I did not elect these unelected bureaucrats that are doing things. I forget where they were meeting somewhere in Europe, but yeah, it's not a good thing. And I hope this gets struck down or people just don't abide by it, but that remains to be seen. Thoughts on this, guys?
I think it's absolutely atrocious. They're looking for any excuse that they can possibly find in order to be able to control the financial and geographic destinies of every human being on the planet. And COVID and movement passports based on vaccine status are simply a means to an end. You can look at the COVID rates across multiple different areas, multiple different geographies. These types of systems are not designed to protect people. They are not designed to protect you. They are designed to fundamentally change the trajectory of specific regional economies and the global economies by restricting movement, restricting the things that people have access to, the markets that people have access to, because these people believe in their heart of hearts that this is the best possible thing for humanity overall. Unfortunately for us, they are dead wrong. And so, as you said, we need to be pushing back against this and resisting it as vehemently as we can.
Needless to say, the last few times they've tried to group us together, that's worked out really well. Making citizens just be put into two different groups arbitrarily based on whatever they deem. Plus, apparently, because I've been going in and out of the freaking doctor's offices a lot recently, apparently there's a whole new strain of COVID that people are freaking out about. Didn't even know that was still a thing. It's actually comical in clown world sometimes to realize that they're still using the same fear tactics, and people unfortunately are still buying and believing it.
I thought you were at the doctor for monkeypox, though, Q.
I told you that in confidence, Chris.
You got monkeypox on the dick.
Dude, monkeypox is fucking scary, man. I was freaking out.
Yeah.
No, all right. Before the Rumble crowd tries to cancel me, I will. There, you can see my leg in a splint for your viewing pleasure.
You got monkeypox on that leg.
Pete, let's talk about Let's talk about Gemini.
Hey, look, no judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone. Gemini has been having issues. We talked yesterday about Gemini Earn being paused in terms of allowing pausing withdrawals. Gemini Earn is a sort of sidecar system that allowed people to pick up pennies in front of the steamroller. That is fully, if you had funds on Gemini Earn, you are, I'm sorry to say, utterly fucked. Those funds have been frozen. However, Gemini, the main exchange created by the Winklevi, is still active. There's been issues with people being able to access the site. But for now, you are still able to withdraw your funds, as we say, approximately 2 to 6.15 times during each show lately. If you do not hold your own keys, you do not own your Bitcoin, learn how to safely take custody of your own Bitcoin and remove it from exchanges, because otherwise all you have is an IOU. And as we've seen from the, half a dozen blowups in the last 2 to 3 weeks, that isn't worth shit. So take control of your own financial destiny. There's an amazing article, which we reference every show as well, published by Bitcoin Magazine, that describes exactly what it means to take self-custody and how to safely do it. That's the most important thing. Do not just randomly go and smash that button and then lose access to your funds. Do it safely, learn the steps, understand what's going on, read the article. We'll put it in the show notes, and we will also post it in the chat again. Who knows how long Gemini will be solvent for? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, don't wait to find out. Just take self-custody of your Bitcoin and use your own node to be solvent yourself. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, we're moving on to Grayscale, another big institution. So this is a great point brought up by Ryan Selko or Selkis. It is unconscionable, the environment that the digital currency group, or Grayscale, has not applied for Reg M to allow GBDC holders to get their Bitcoin out of the trust. What is GBDC? GBDC is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Obviously, you buy shares, basically, of this fund, and then they hold the Bitcoin for you. It is very profitable for them to do so. So we always say, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. They are incentivized for you to buy their shares because they get a 2% rake on the amount of Bitcoin or the amount of money that you put in there. So while I agree with Ryan's assessment of they should basically dilute the trust and basically give you access to self-custody your Bitcoin, it is not in their own best interest. We say on the show many times before, GBDC is a shitcoin. It is not Bitcoin. You do not have control of it. You cannot withdraw it. I know Ryan's pitching for you to be able to do that, but I do not see that happening anytime in the near future. So buy your own Bitcoin and self-custody to your own wallet.
So, do you act? Let me present this question to the two of you, because we talked about Grayscale quite a bit. There's going to be a lot of regulations coming forward. Do you think there's going to be any movement in a positive direction for Grayscale's attempt at turning it into an ETF, a Bitcoin ETF?
No, I think Gary Gensler is like, no, I need all the crypto exchanges to register for me or the CFTC. I don't think so. I think that he wants a lot of framework. He wants basically people policing themselves. I think the way that they're going to try and get people to do that is they might try and make an example of SBF. And it's like, hey, if you don't come and register, we're going to throw you in jail like SBF, or go after at least the people running the exchanges. But we'll see.
Do you think SBF is going to see the inside of a jail cell?
I'm back and forth on it. I'm back and forth.
No,
I think Gary Gensler has Gary Gensler is buddies with SBF, so maybe he doesn't want to see him in a jail cell. But
no, Gary Gensler's buddies with Caroline's dad,
Sam Bankman's crazy girlfriend.
No. Did you guys see the picture from the screenshot from the porno?
All right.
At this point,
all right, we're cutting Q off.
He's gone.
He's gone.
I had the last story, so fuck you. All right, we'll end on a lighter note. We have Opti here joining us in just a second. On a more positive note, President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador has finally broken his silence. Many people have long been asking, yo, bro, where's the buying the dip during this most recent downturn? Well, just announced today, El Salvador will be buying 1 Bitcoin a day for the foreseeable future. This is great. I don't think this lowers your cost basis all that much, because you guys were aping in much, much higher prices. But I think if I did my math correctly, after 20 days, they will have matched their cost basis so long as Bitcoin remains under 20K.
That's interesting. That's cool.
So, we can get there very quickly, and it'll be great. All right, Yellow, yes, you can hang out with us, man. All right, Jesus. Any thoughts, any feelings on Nayib Bukele finally joining all of us dip buyers? Were you nervous at the fact that Bukele in El Salvador had not been buying any Bitcoin for a while?
No, not at all. I don't give a shit. I mean, it's awesome that he's doing this. I love it. I love the kind of let's fucking go buying Bitcoin on the dip. But no, whether El Salvador and Nayib Bukele buys Bitcoin or not, it's not going to have an impact on everything that we're doing, because we are independent Bitcoiners, my friends. We do what we want.
Yeah, like let's cut to a commercial break because Nico and Opti are here now. But before we do, come party with all of us, including Nico and Opti, who are going to be put on the spot and fully commit to coming to Bitcoin Miami if they're not already. But we're going back to Miami May 18th through the 20th. Let's party it up. Use promo code BMLive. And in checkout, if you try to pay with Bitcoin, which just go buy that amount of Bitcoin and then go spend it. I'm with you. I hate spending it, but you get an extra discount if you do it. And you can use promo code BMLive to get an additional 10% off. I'm saving you the big bucks so you can sack more sats, guys. And of course, the Orange Party print magazine comes out this week. Get your subscription at the Bitcoin Magazine store and use promo code BMLive to get 10% off that. Let's go to commercial break.
You are listening to Bitcoin Magazine Live. Listening to Bitcoin Magazine Live. Number one Bitcoin Magazine Live. You are listening to Bitcoin Magazine Live. Listening to Bitcoin Magazine Live. Number one Bitcoin Magazine Live. Samba.
What is up, guys? Thank you for sticking through those commercial breaks. And I am excited to introduce the men, the myth, the legends, none other than the two gentlemen behind your favorite Bitcoin show, including mine and absolutely Chris's favorite Bitcoin show, Simply
And
Bitcoin.
mine.
No, P, you reference every other Bitcoin show way too much to lay claim to that. Nico, Opti, welcome, gentlemen. Oh, that was way too loud. What is up, boys?
Yo, what's up, dude?
Oh,
What's
that's
good?
good.
What's good?
Clean.
What's good?
Sounded clean. All right.
Hold
My
on.
friends-
Before we go, can I apologize to Yellow Live? I am sorry that I muted you in the spaces. I do not want war. If I had a white flag, I would wave it right now. I can't let you guys run wild in the spaces while it's running. So, sorry, Yellow.
Unacceptable. So wait, let me get this straight. Are you guys in real time right now live streaming this audio to Spaces?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Are you guys doing it as
Fuck
well?
yes.
I think we're all
No,
doing it.
no, this is perfect because my
Okay.
system, total garbage, just disaster town. So we're good to go. This is perfect.
Yes,
I'm
this
gonna-
is live.
I'm joining these Twitter Spaces because I was like, wait, aren't we? I just sent the message. I was like, wait a minute. I thought we were doing Twitter Spaces. All right.
Wait, guys, let's talk. Let's spend at least the next 30 minutes talking deep technical stuff that nobody else cares about. Just the back of
Fuck that.
house
No.
stuff, right?
Someone
Yes,
mute Pete. I've got, bro. I have been on fucking bed rest and haven't been able to talk to anyone about
He's got
this.
monkeypox on his dick, and by dick I mean leg.
Oof.
Guys. All right. I want to start first.
Wait,
with
no,
the
wait, sorry,
most
sorry.
important piece of news.
I'm sorry, Q. Just to be real for a second. Should we all be in the spaces as well, or are you guys piping this just sacrosanct audio directly?
If you are in the spaces, there's going to be some technical stuff. You might pick up some background noise. So like if you jump in, you're going to have to like hide the phone somewhere in the corner.
No, just put the volume all the way down, bro. What are you
That's
talking
what.
about?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what I've
oh,
already
yeah.
done.
They're not.
I'll
They're
be
not
on the
speaking.
stage,
Well,
bro.
oh yeah, they're not speaking. Well,
Yeah.
whatever.
How did I know
Opti,
this?
let me on stage, bro.
All right, I'll get you on. Oh, there's the request. See, now you're going to have to hide it.
That's fine. I'll chuck the phone to the other side of the room right now.
Wait. You guys hear that? Hold on.
Don't stop believing. Hold to that feeling.
Yes.
Yellow's in my
Yes.
house again.
Yes.
Yes.
Muted in spaces, but he's on the soundboard. Wrecked.
Fucking love it. Let's do this. All right, my friends. Now that we've got that incredibly important technical difficulty out of the way, I feel, Opti, I need to play you in with a... There it is. There it is.
Nico, you and I feel like are on the same page on this.
No more.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much, Chris. All right.
Okay, let's have a conversation.
Right? Like the smart people on the shows can now talk. Chris, if you take P and Opti off screen, we'll let you come on screen. I will trade them both for you right now.
Oh man.
All right. No more crazy
turning red.
audio.
All right, I want to talk. I genuinely want to talk about this first, P, and you cannot silence me. It should be discussed. But SBF's upcoming sex tape, which should be released tomorrow. Firstly, do you think it exists? Second, why? Why is this coming out? And it could genuinely be as simple as, oh, they're just trying to like move our attention to this instead of the fact that SBF is getting put in front of the New York Times to just talk about video games.
I think a lot of people get very, very, very upset when, they get stolen from and robbed. And I think that they will go through crazy lengths to try to get back at the person. Now, look, as much as I do not like SBF, as much as he's a scumbag and he stole people, I just don't see how the sex tape is relevant. Like it's between him and his whatever he likes, that's to him. I don't care, whatever floats your boat, man. But, like it's unfortunate, but look, if you didn't want this to happen, stop scamming people. Now, am I going to see this sex tape? I don't think so. Like, I mean, like, what is there to see? Like, I feel like I don't know.
You don't like nerd porn? That's not your kink?
Dude, I mean, look, hey, bro, everyone's got to do it. Everyone's got their thing. I don't judge, but like, maybe like the first 2-second curiosity, and then you're just like, oh no, why did I do that? But I don't know. I feel bad. I feel bad for I just feel bad for the parties involved. But hey, look, if you don't want this to happen to you, don't be a scumbag and don't steal from people, right? Because that's what he did. He stole from people. He lied. He tried to build himself a political moat, right? He donated a ton of money to certain political parties to protect himself. And yeah, man, like it's and that screenshot that screen, I think it was Corey Clipston that posted it. Like, dude, this guy doesn't care. He does not care. He's completely unaware of the situation. And bro, it's just unfortunate overall. But I'll tell you this, guys, okay? Bitcoiners have been vindicated because we have been screaming this from the rooftop for the last year. Okay, we've been saying Bitcoin, not crypto, number one. And we've been saying, look, take self-custody of your keys. Matt Odell says it best, right? Stay humble, stack sats. It's as easy as that. And if you've been listening to the Bitcoin content, that's all we've been saying this entire time. And that's why it's so unfortunate when you have CEOs like Alex Mashinsky going out in his podcast, telling it to everybody, shaming Bitcoiners for telling people to take self-custody. Like the lack of morality of these people, the lack of integrity, that continues to surprise me. I think when I think we reach bottom, there's a whole other bottom that just opens up that I had no idea it existed in the first place. It's absolutely disgusting. But you know what? The silver lining to all of this, and then if you believe the news, if you believe the on-chain data, right, is that a record amount of people are finally doing the thing that is required for us to win this peaceful revolution. They're finally taking self-custody. So I at least there's a silver lining to this. At least there is some good news. Those are my thoughts.
All right, you've essentially set the stage for us to, not get sidetracked with my obsession with the SBF Caroline sex tape, which P and I will have a live reaction.
You are
video.
so obsessed with it, it's ridiculous. You're like already masturbating,
Dude,
just excited about it.
Nerd
No more.
porn's my kink. What can I say?
I get it. No more.
But there's something else I want to present this question, Nico and Opti, to you two, because I already asked P and I didn't like his answer, so I need a better answer. And it's the Vox stuff and the DMs that have been coming out. Corey's DMs with SBF included. There have been countless others coming out, and the theme seems to start being exactly to your point, like, oh, he just doesn't care. He doesn't care about what he did. He has no remorse, or he even knew what he was doing and he was being very intentional about what it was that he was doing. My question is, at a certain point, I don't believe anything this man says anymore. And I think everyone has just let me just say my 2 cents. Everyone has their own line of like when they stop trusting someone. Like, genuinely, why is it, or do you guys believe in this moment he is being genuine and honest, or is it something of like a further like game that he's just continuing to play with more people now?
No, dude, the guy's an absolute psychopath. Like, the guy's an absolute. First of all, I want to give credit also to Corey, because he's been doing the God's work, saving people. Like, it's insane. Like the Alex Mashinsky stuff, the just having the ball sack as someone in his position to actually confront these people, dude. Yes, it gets engagement, but also the amount of people that saves. You can't put that on paper. Like, you can't put a number on that, So that's number one. Number two, dude, look, the guy's an absolute psychopath. He says things to the public. Have you guys seen that viral Andrew Tate video where he was, you guys haven't seen it, have you? Right? Where he was basically making the argument that it's like, look, like I have money and I'm not afraid to spend that money. Right. And he's like, beware of people that say they're not greedy, but when you look behind the hood, it might not look like what you perceive it to be, and dude, like the level of either this guy just made way too much money at a young age, or maybe, dude, he's just, dude, he believes he knows what's best for everybody else. And I think his whole how he approached the whole philanthropy, it's a hard word, I can't say it.
Philanthropic endeavors.
There you go. Thank you, Q. And how he's gonna, give all that money away, and that he doesn't care about any of these things and whatever. But dude, once it's all started to reveal, when it all started to unravel, it was never his money to begin with. That was the crazy part. He was okay going in front of the legacy media institutions like the New York Times and having all these interviews. And in his mind, he knows what's real, right? And he was willing to take the credit for something that wasn't his. He was willing to get all the acknowledgement, get all the rewards, and he was a fraud the entire time. You're not dealing with someone that is right in the head, man. Like, this is a level of psychopathness that I don't think we're used to seeing very often, and that's exactly what I see in SBF. And I think the last time we saw this was with Bernie Madoff. The same thing, bro. Everyone said he was amazing. He got all these articles. They all they all said he was the man. He was the greatest investor. But when it all started to unravel, dude, he was just a piece of crap, man. It led to his son committing suicide. You could say his other son died because of the stress, and he got sick. Man, it was just disgusting overall. But look, to tie it back into Bitcoin, then I'll shut up because I know I've been on a little bit of a rip. Take a look at this, right? History is repeating itself. This is the fiat world once again, right? Bank runs. You're trusting someone else with your money, and you're putting your faith in that person not to do something bad with your money. We no longer have to do that anymore. Now we have a technology that allows you to take self-custody of an unlimited amount of wealth. Not only that, it allows you to send that wealth anywhere around the world in a snap of a finger. So why are we still trusting other people with that? And that's the fundamental problem. Why are we still trusting other people with our money. Because if we still do that, it's like, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. This is going to continue to happen. So we got to get that message out. Not your keys, not your Bitcoin, and Bitcoin, not crypto.
All right, P, I told you to shut up enough times. You are now unsilenced.
I'm free. Shut the fuck up. Look, here's the deal. You have been asking people like, how can we possibly trust this person? We thought we could and now we can't. When was the moment when you learned that he was a bullshitter?
You're framing it as though like I'm an SBF apologist, when in fact, like, I'm just simply,
Look, you
No,
sent me a
I'm
picture
just
earlier
simply-
today with you with like a heart emoji or
You
on
guys
his
are
face
awesome.
that you had sent him like personally. It was weird. I felt uncomfortable. You did afterwards. You were like, delete that from your memory. I was like, I can't. I already saw it. My point is, nobody should have ever trusted SBF. And I feel like at least everyone on this call, you included, you have been screaming about SBF being a total
but my
piece of
point
shit.
is, that's my point. My point is that we've never trusted SBF, but now he's coming out and being like, oh yeah, I was just trolling you guys. Of course I was. Like,
Interesting.
now we want to believe him. That's just,
No,
that's the
my
question
point,
I'm asking.
who wants to
man.
believe him though? Nobody wants to believe him. The point is, it's the thing to me when I read these when I read these messages, which everyone should go check out. I was shocked that they were so crazy. Like, it's like, why the fuck is he talking with a reporter? To, you know what you're saying, Nico, and like, why is he saying this stuff? It's wild. And then immediately, I think because he had to go on Twitter and be like, yeah, that was me. I'm fucking crazy. I do what I want. Like, I don't think anybody should be surprised. I think it's only going to get weirder. Also, his whole weird tweet thread where it was like, what? HAPP. And then like to do the New York Times puff piece where he was like, oh yeah, I'm just sort of like doing what I can, just like trying to feel it out, you know? And then he shilled his own fucking game. Like, I couldn't believe that in that New York Times puff piece when like, they're like, how have you been staying sane? And you doing okay, SBF? And he was like, yeah, you know, I've been just relaxing, chilling. I'm sleeping. You know, you might not think I could, but I am. But also I'm playing this game. No mention of the fact that that's a game that FTX owns. He's like just like blatantly just like shoehorning his shill into this puff piece. It was obscene.
Dude,
Absolutely
hold
obscene.
on. I think to Q's point, the sex tape is definitely a distraction, but it's just like quote unquote billionaires doing weird kinky things, and like we're talking about, you know, the more that news comes out from this FTX SBF story, like the crazier it gets, and there's like just new levels of degeneracy here. And furthermore, like the idea of what was his meme, like effective altruism, you know, like it's all a LARP. He said it best in that one screenshot that Corey put out, is like, you just got to say the right things so that people think that you're the person that you're not. And it goes back to a lot of people on Twitter, just like, you know, being keyboard warriors and just doing things for the audience out there without having the actual substance behind what they're doing. So I definitely think that SBF just thinks that this is a game. Like if he just continues to go down like the CSW shitcoin blueprint, where you just like continue to make more lies, double down and say even crazier and crazier things, like he'll just be able to get away with it. You know, in his mind, maybe he's thinking like, this is me doing like Chad moves out here. Like I can just blatantly lie and just continue to lie more and more and more and bigger lies. And people will just think that, oh, you know, I was just stupid. I was incompetent. I didn't know that this was happening from the jump, when it's like, if you look into it a little bit, you can tell that it's a lot easier to play dumb when all this stuff blows up versus saying that you were nefarious from the jump, because it looks like they knew exactly what they were doing, considering all the other connections and the conspiracy theories that are going on around this. It's like there's no coincidences, and it's very telling, like who's he in bed with, the fact that they were trying to get regulatory capture, you know, like the friends that they were having dinner with and all this stuff. It's like, this stuff just doesn't happen by accident. So it's definitely planned from the beginning, and he got caught, and now he's just trying to, you know, sweep it under the rug and try to walk away unscathed, which he might get away with considering who his friends are.
Well, let's unpack that last part. Like, show of hands, does anyone think SBF sees the inside of a jail cell?
No.
Wow.
No. Yeah,
All four of us think he's gonna, like, you gotta love this justice system in this country where we know with such certainty between the four of us that this man will get away with his white collar crimes because he's a white man.
He donated.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, you first. I've been talking a lot, please.
No, I want to hear your voice, P.
All right, fine. Yeah, he's donated, as you were going to say, too much money to the powers that be. There is too much at stake politically for these people. I think it's possible, but the chance that he's going to see the inside of a jail cell is very, very small. I think what's much more likely to happen is he's going to be dragged in front of a congressional hearing, a Senate hearing, and they're going to just castigate him for, a month straight and be like, why are you such a bad person? Why do you hate the children? And he's going to go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was a drug-addled monkey. I don't know what's happening. And then at the end of it, they're going to be like, well, he's done his time and he's going to be put on house arrest or something. And that'll be that.
Yep. And the most disgusting part is that, remember Ross, everybody. Remember Ross, right? So what do you think is worse? What do you think is worse? Billions of dollars of people's money gone. The South Park meme. And it's gone, right? Like, what do you think is worse here?
Here's the truth, though, Nico. In this country, we have already established that if you defraud people out of their money, if you lose people billions of dollars, it doesn't matter. 2007, 2008, how many of those bankers saw the inside of a jail cell? Just one, and it wasn't even one of the top dogs.
Yep.
Like Enron, sure, the CEO went to jail. Like a lot of execs saw the inside of a jail cell. I have a hard time even believing that like they're going to do a whole lot to SBF. Where I think their efforts will be put towards is the broader industry. I think it is worth noting that Chris did say, like, even before y'all joined us, and Chris has been posting in our chat, like, he does think SBF will see the inside of a jail cell, to which I will continue to remind the audience. The line is still that Chris is a spook at plus 200. You can DM me with your bets there. But beyond that, I think the effort will instead, like, sure, SBF will be brought in front of Congress. They might listen to what he says and then turn around and be like, all right, cool. So let's talk to Brian Armstrong. Let's talk to CZ. Let's talk to Jesse Powell. Oh, you know what? The exchanges seem to be like an area where we should focus some effort and energy. And I unfortunately think rather than forcing FTX or even anyone from Alameda to be punished for their actions, they will punish the industry as a whole and roll out laws and regulations on all of us. Or I want to caveat this because I think this is more wishful thinking than what will really happen. It's a possibility. But like in a perfect world, the regulations would be focused on crypto exchanges. It will be focused on cryptocurrencies in the broadest sense. I unfortunately think that they will umbrella that term and loop Bitcoin into all of it. And then that's just a headache that could set us and the work that we are doing back anywhere from years to decades even.
Yeah, 100%. It's unfortunate, dude. It's just going to give more ammunition to our enemies. You already see Elizabeth Warren, beating the battle drums. But I mean, I think that this battle is inevitable. But I also think it's cosmic justice that one of the only exchanges that signed up willingly to a lot of these elitist organizations happened to be the one that was scamming everybody. So I guess there's poetic justice to that.
I want to ask you guys, what do you think? We were talking about it just before you jumped on about this announcement from President Bukele that they will be DCAing an entire Bitcoin every day for the foreseeable future.
Bro, I mean, it's funny because everyone has to pay their price of tuition and everyone gets wrecked the first cycle. Everyone like unless you get very, very lucky is when you get in, you always get wrecked. Saylor, I had the privilege to be able to see him last week in California. And, dude, that guy, he was sweating bullets, my friend. And El Salvador, the country of El Salvador, it's funny because as an individual, you just get the text from moms. Are you okay? Right. But as, a billionaire heading a public company or the president of a nation state, you're getting the text from the IMF saying, we are going to destroy you. So it's a totally different dynamic, but the base is still exactly the same. Michael Saylor, Nayib Bukele, El Salvador, they're paying their price of tuition. And in 4 or 5 years, they're going to look like absolute geniuses. And it's not that they're geniuses. Maybe Saylor, maybe Nayib Bukele is a genius, but I'll use my example. It's not that I was a genius, right? It's that I just bought Bitcoin and I hodled it, right? So they're going to look amazing in a couple years. But going back to the DCA part, right? What did we all do in the very beginning? Dude, put it all in one time. Bitcoin's at 20K, so 2017, this thing's going to 100K. I'm putting all my money, and then you get absolutely wrecked. It humbles you, and then you're just like, okay, maybe I could just buy like $100 every day and then just kind of approach it that direction. That really hurt. And I think that's what Nayib Bukele is going through. And I know for a fact, I mean, not for a fact, but based on his body expressions and his facial expressions.
I know for a fact, but based on the way I interpret things.
Dude, I mean, bro.
So your opinion.
My opinion, yes. I believe my opinion so much. It is a fact. No, but no, it's true. It's true. Based on my opinion. Based on my observation. Yeah, right? We're becoming what we're fighting against. Oh my God, in real time. No, but dude, just look, as much as Saylor believes and he's confident in his in what he's doing with Bitcoin and this and this and that, man, being $1 billion down is still being $1 billion down, bro. It is what it is, right? So what they're both doing, Nayib Bukele and Michael Saylor, they're paying the price of tuition just like everybody else. But what I'm really bullish for is next cycle, when both of them are going to be completely vindicated. Think about who they are. They're the CEO of a public company that proved that putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet was a good idea. And that is the president of a country proving that putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet is a good idea. And then that's when I really believe the monetary demons are going to lose their minds and they're really going to come out of the woodwork. I think what we've been experiencing lately is child's play. A little jab from the IMF, a little report from the UN, a little something from the World Bank, something from the Biden administration. But I think really when they're pushed into a corner, man, holy crap. And look, we have history to kind of reference, United States, 1933, in the Great Depression, right? FDR, the infamous 6102 order, man. So take self-custody. That's what I got to say about that.
Take self-custody, but I think...
No, you can jump in, Q.
I've talked way too much.
I was just going to echo what we said on our show that, I mean, in regards to Bukele, I would love to be DCAing 1 Bitcoin a day right now. So shouts out to him, like DCA is the way, guys. If we could be stacking 1 Bitcoin every single day right now, we would all be just so much happier at the very end of all this. But it's what me and Nico say all the time on the show is right now, we're in the depth of the bear market, and obviously we all look we all are taking our punches out there. It's almost Thanksgiving. We're all gonna have to sit down with our family. We probably told them to buy the top, and so we're all gonna have to save face at our family dinners and be just zoom out farther, in time,
How's your
number will
401k
go
doing?
up. Exactly.
Opti, just tell them, how is your 401k doing?
Well, yeah, but still, they're still gonna try to dunk on
Better
us.
than their Bitcoin portfolio if they bought at the top.
Yeah, so it's as much as we know in the future that we will all be looking back at this and be thinking the same thing, wow, Nayib Bukele, El Salvador, Saylor, they all did the right thing by stacking Bitcoin and doubling down and buying the dip. As the saying goes, when there's blood on the streets, even if it's yours, definitely buy. So in time, we will be looked on as geniuses, but in the moment, it's what Nico said, everyone pays the cost of tuition, and this is just a part of the cycle. This is the depths of the bear market, and everyone pays their dues in Bitcoin. It's not easy. Anyone that tells you that hodling is easy just doesn't really know what is going on out here. They've never really hodled. They probably dumped their coin. It's more psychological than anything. So, kudos to them. I think in time, El Salvador will be looked upon, what we call it all the time, you know, like the savior and the Bitcoin country. So I think pretty soon we're going to see El Salvador leapfrog a lot of these other countries out there because of this Bitcoin bet. And Bukele will be looked at as one of the best leaders in the world. And I mean, again, we reference his article all the time. Like, don't drink the elite's Kool-Aid. Obviously, legacy media is going to call him an idiot right now while he doubles down. But hey, we know what game it is. You know, we are also in media and we understand the tactics out there to competitors. So continue to stack Bitcoin.
I just imagine like there's like a signal group between like Nayib Bukele and the WEF. It's just the name is just WEF, and it's like President Bukele, and it's just them like shit posting and like attacking each other. And I just imagine the WEF being like, "Yo, how's that trade going, bitch?" And him just being like, "DCA, DCA," and just like skull crossbones emoji.
Oh man,
we all know who's gonna win.
That's exactly what is going on, and I'm pretty sure he added Saylor into the chat as well. And at this point, Saylor's just he's not even texting anymore. It's just Pepe memes at this point.
Well, no, Saylor can't text anyone right now.
Yeah, didn't read.
He's
never
under
selling.
scrutiny of DC's attorney general for his income tax.
Okay,
Like there's still that.
I believe that was political. What do you think?
Of course it was.
1,000,000%.
What? Like they just realized or thought about the fact that, hey, Saylor posts a lot of pictures in Miami. He's not really a Florida resident. Let's dig into this a little bit more.
What the fuck, Opti? Let me speak.
Oh shit!
I unmuted the space. Apologies. Do I have to mute you again?
Bring
Yellow?
him in. Bring him in. Let's
No,
do
let
this.
Yellow fuck around.
You're on the show now, Yellow. I think I'm gonna have to mute you guys.
Let it all out.
Sorry.
Let it all out.
You are
Muted.
live on air, Yellow.
I muted them.
Nah, he's on screen now.
Okay, you're on screen, Yellow. What do you got to say?
Are you coming back?
Soon.
Believing. Huddle to that feeling.
I will take you out of the car soon, Yellow. Just hold on. I'll be back soon.
Get me some tacos, okay? Thank you.
Okay. So,
stuff.
all right. So, dude, it was 100% political. And you know what? You know what makes me say that is because not only, and I feel like this was like the symbolic jab. Not only is Michael Saylor cheating on his taxes, somehow MicroStrategy is involved as well. Like, what does one have to do with the other, man? It doesn't make any
Because he's
sense.
the CEO, obviously, man.
Oh, man.
So therefore, whatever he does, MicroStrategy knows about and has information on, obviously.
Yeah. So when we all go to the gulag, P, you want to bunk together?
Gulag's gonna be lit, Nico.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in.
That was a bold choice. You pick P over me. That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Opti and I are going to room together, and honestly, our room's going to be the best room. I see how
Bang,
it is,
bang.
Nico.
Bang bang. All right.
Bang bang.
All right, I want to ask you guys, what do you think about, we talked about it earlier, but I want to get your guys' take on these movement passports that are being, it's been this sort of conspiracy theory forever. And Bitcoiners have been like, it's coming, it's going to happen. And now the G20 are officially talking about it. You guys know what I'm referencing?
Yeah, I mean, look, it kind of goes back to, I always say it all the time, and perhaps, people think I'm being hyperbolic when I say this, but I'm not, right? And I say this as good morning, Bitcoiner slavery, right? And that's kind of the future that we have in front of us. We have a future of central bank digital currencies and all the power and leverage that's going to give, governments. And we have the future of freedom of Bitcoin, right? And as time progresses, the battle lines are going to get less and less obfuscated. It's going to become more and more obvious. Do you remember, like they're already doing this? PayPal and their policy was like, look, if you are responsible for any type of misinformation or any type of hate speech of which it's completely not defined, right? We're gonna fine you $2,500. And what is the end result of that? The end result of that is is people self-censoring, which a lot of people do, right? Because they don't want to get deplatformed. So this is, it's all encompassing, man. It's the movement passports. It's the, you put that in with central bank digital currencies. And then if you want to look at what that future already looks like, because it already exists, look at China, man, right? China, one of the largest banks had a bank run, and people showed up to, they came to protest, and they used, this is the crazy part, they used the health passports and they turned them from green to red. And red means that you can't pass a certain checkpoint, and they turned those on. Were those people unhealthy? Did they suddenly get sick? Did they just get, no, nothing happened, but they used that control mechanism which was installed. And of course, the government or the people in charge used it to protect themselves. So I think it all kind of ties in together. And this is why something like Bitcoin, this is why what we're all doing right now, trying to get the message out, is so important. Because look, the reality is we need to wake up enough people to the truth, right? And the truth is Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I'm not so optimistic about the West. I think the West has a tremendous, people love convenience here, right? They're okay with that. I'm very bullish on developing countries, because in developing countries, when you pitch them the idea, hey, a non-government money peer-to-peer, they're like, where can I sign up? That's an amazing idea. Where can I get that, right? And you pitch someone in the West, it's a coin flip, right? One, it's like, yeah, Bitcoin, I have some in my Robinhood, it's great. And then the other side of the coin flip is like, Bitcoin? No, it uses too much energy, it's gonna boil the oceans, right? In developing countries, they don't, and Alex Gladstein wrote an amazing book, they don't have that financial privilege. What they're concerned about is putting food on the table. And when you're experiencing 20, 50, 60% inflation, you don't give a flying F about what Bitcoin's energy usage is. What you care about is being able to provide for your family. And unfortunately in the West, we've been so coddled, bred in circuses, football, Netflix, all that BS, that people are not aware of the clear and present danger. And the fact is that there's a powerful cabal, a powerful elite group of people that really, really believe that they know what's best for everybody else, and they play by a whole set of different rules. And central bank digital currencies is their last hurrah to try to maintain their privilege and power to be able to create money for free that everybody else has to work for. Enough is enough. Fuck that. I have Bitcoin, and you can't take it away from me, motherfuckers. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. I get riled up when this conversation gets
It's a children's
up.
show.
Bars.
My only thought is,
Wait.
I just pee.
That's called motherfucking boy.
All right, well, let me ask.
That's dope, man. That's cool.
I
Your
got
sounds are
all the
lame,
sounds.
Pete.
I got all the sound over here. But just to add to Nico's rant, Lona just kind of hit me to this in the space like literally 15 minutes ago. I completely missed this news, but we know, and we've been talking about this a lot on our show, that movement passports, CBDCs, like these are the end game. And if they are able to install this, like that's checkmate on humanity, and that's checkmate on freedom for as long as they are able to keep that system going. And so this is why we Bitcoin. And these bureaucrats, these central planners, they think of us as chattel, like not cattle, like chattel. And they're afraid of freedom of thought. They're afraid of freedom of movement. They're afraid of the freedom of information. And I referenced Nayib Bukele's article earlier, Don't Drink the Elite's Kool-Aid. And remember what he said in that. He said basically that the powers that be out here, what their main tool is a monopoly on truth, basically censoring truth and then propagating their own truth. And it's basically like dystopian 1984 levels of information war that we are in right now. So this is why we Bitcoin. Bitcoin is freedom money. Bitcoin is the truth. And this is why they are doing everything in their powers to try to push this out in this moment right now. Because for one, they know that they're on their last leg of their financial system. And furthermore, they have to co-opt the Bitcoin narrative, because if this message gets out about Bitcoin, about the freedom of Bitcoin, what Bitcoin can empower for the average person, it's end for their game, because like Bitcoin allows humans to prosper, and with prosperity comes innovation, and with innovation comes a better life and better society. So of course they're pushing this stuff out now because Bitcoin has basically forced the narrative, and they have to figure out a way to dupe all the masses out there. So it's that the timing isn't coincidental. It's all happening at a very coordinated time right now. And we know that there is, as Nico likes to call them, the monetary demons, but a concerted effort, a global effort to stop Bitcoin. We are in the then they fight you stage. And this is why, you know, all four of us, come out here every single day to try to push this message in every way possible so that we can hit everyone in every angle possible, so that they know that Bitcoin is the solution and they just need to take Bitcoin into self-custody. And this is how we fight this crazy stuff. Opt out of the madness.
Well, true. Literally the worst times. Like, you couldn't be worse at this.
Yeah, so good. So good. That was not me. That was Opti.
That was you.
No, it was not.
No, that was me. It got quiet, you know, so.
Opti only does the good drops. All the bad drops are P's fault.
Can confirm.
But no, there's a lot of truth.
Just got thrown in the bus.
Well, P
Thrown in the
has
bus.
the best background. Look at that. Look at that. It's score. By the way, I saw it in person. It is badass. Look at that. Look at that. And Q has the best hair for sure. 100%.
It's true. All these things are true.
But no, I don't disagree, Nico, especially with the point that you were making, just on this idea that it's developing countries that are really going to benefit from this. You know, they've been left out for so long. They're incentivized to figure out what the next system is and make it work for them much more than the West has to, because the current system works for the West. I ask this question a lot. P is sick of it. I think it warrants a conversation though. And it's the 80-20 principle. Like, show of hands. If you go and turn your car on, do you really know what's happening when you turn the key or press the button? I take your silence as a no. And so my point being, at a certain point, when we say things like Bitcoin is for everyone, Bitcoin is also for those who don't want to self-custody. Bitcoin is also for those who are not as technically inclined and just want to, you know, try to interact with this network because it's a growing system. Is it on us to create systems for them to use Bitcoin more easily? Like as we watch the Fedi group come out and roll out Fedimints, or is it more for them to just, hey, you got to figure this out? Like the fact that we're all in this situation with society is because for so long we weren't figuring these things out. So if you just sort of limp back into this new system in your old habits, you're just going to recreate the same problems in different ways.
Yeah, so that's a really, really good question, Q. And I've spent a long time coming to terms with that. And before I say what I have to say, the preface is this, right? There's a very famous scene in the movie The Matrix, right? The original one. And it's of course, it's a Bitcoin show. They're referencing The Matrix. No, but seriously, it's a very, very good, it's a very good scene that perfectly, like, it's a perfect analogy, really. So it's when Neo first gets woken up and Morpheus is explaining to him what the Matrix is, and Neo freaks out, right? You know, and they have to pull him out, and he wakes up and he throws up. And then the next scene, it's him kind of waking up, and Morpheus is like, just like waiting for him to wake up. And he looks at him and he says, Neo, I'm sorry. After a certain age, we don't wake people up because it's too much for their mind to handle, to come to terms with, right? And it's such a great analogy. And the way that I kind of, you know, apply it to what's going on is, the fact is, unfortunately, like my parents, for example, you know, older people, my girlfriend's parents, right? They've spent their entire lives in the fiat matrix. They've spent their entire lives outsourcing the personal responsibility of the storage of their wealth to other people. They're used to the convenience of that 1-800 number if something happens. Now, they live in a country that has relatively stable fiat currencies, but if you take a look at Lebanon, right, how did that outsourcing of responsibility end up for the Lebanese people? They got absolutely wrecked, right? How did that outsource of responsibility end up for people that were leaving their stuff on FTX? They got absolutely wrecked, right? So unfortunately for older people, in the case of my family, I'm kind of like the Uncle Jim, right? My mom is hardcore, self-custody, multi-sig, geographically separated seeds. Bacata. Does she actually know how to access it and spend it? No, she doesn't, right? I have to write down a sheet in case anything happens to me, you know, keep it in a safe place. But she is still benefiting from self-custody. My sister, kind of similar setup, right? My girlfriend, very similar setup. Do they know? There are different variations, right? You know, that get the call every once in a while. Oh my God, my Bitcoin is gone. I'm like, and then like, you know, I'll pull up the, you know, the watch only wallet on my computer, like synced up to my note. It's like, no, it's right there. It's your phone app. Close it and open it again. Oh my God, it's back. You know, like those conversations, you know, happen, and it's like as if you're replacing that 1-800 number with a stranger, and what you're replacing it with is a trusted family member. Now, this is very small. You can't apply this with friends, for example. I feel like this is only a family type situation where you have that level of trust, right? But not everybody has a family, so it doesn't apply to everyone. But man, look, I think the idea of self-custody is a very radical idea if you've spent your entire life outsourcing that, right? And I don't think the harsh reality is that I don't think people are either going to have the incentive to understand, or maybe it's just perhaps past their technical capabilities. But I do believe, Q, this problem is going to be solved as generations go by. Unfortunately, dude, there's just some people, like that Matrix analogy I said in the beginning, that have spent way too much time in the fiat matrix, and that they're just not going to make that final step. But this is where family comes in. This is where it comes into the Bitcoiner, the individual, to probably take that responsibility into your own hands. But with that responsibility, now you are the person in the driver's seat. Now you're the person that they're going to call if they need help. Now you're the person that they're going to call if, you know, God forbid, you don't store that seed correctly, right? So yeah, dude, I don't think there is a perfect solution to this. But I think that the trade-offs, the benefits from the trade-off far outweigh the cons, man. And I think that 90% of the world's problems would literally disappear if people started taking self-custody of their wealth rather than, you know, entrusting that in someone else. Like, look, take a look at Blackrock, for example. Why are they so powerful, man? It's not all their stocks. It's not all their stuff. No, it's everybody else's, and then they're entrusting BlackRock, and then BlackRock just empowers themselves. FTX, the same example. Bank runs of the 1930s, the bank runs in Lebanon that just happened. It's the same fundamental issue. People are trusting other people with their money, and I think we finally have a technology that allows us to effectively and conveniently store a ridiculous amount of wealth, millions, trillions, if not billions, in your mind, man. You know, if you want to, if you want to be reckless and memorize a 12-word seed phrase. But we have that capability now, but I don't think enough people have woken up to that yet. I know it's long-winded, but that's my response to that, Q. I've spent so much time thinking about it, dude. But yes, it's something that does worry me, and hopefully Fedimints is a solution to this, man. It is a solution to the self-custody problem.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't disagree with you. I think there's another component where we sometimes might not want to openly talk about, but I want to just throw this out there. This week we saw the world population like officially cross 8 billion people all over the world. I want to just talk an uncomfortable truth of like, all right, we're talking about what society looks like right now, how it's in shambles. We talk about like the opportunity you have to essentially get out of this system that's in place to hopefully have a better future. That is what I think all of us would agree Bitcoin provides, is that hope for a better future. But for those who decide to opt out, like what? I guess my question is like, which movie or book do you think the future holds for those types of people? Like, are they going to just continue to chug along as though nothing ever changes for them? Or like, will there be that big collapse of like, oh, we fucked this up?
I think that things, unless things get so bad, people are just gonna be willingly asleep. Like in in the developing countries is the best example, right? It's like you don't have a 50, 60-year-old Venezuelan learning about Bitcoin because, like willy-nilly. He's learning about Bitcoin because it's a matter of life and death. Nigeria is the same thing. Argentina, it's the same thing. Turkey is the same thing. Those countries, what I've just mentioned, have some of the highest Bitcoin adoption rates, right? Necessity is necessary in order to affect, that's the best incentive, because if you don't have that incentive, then you're adopting it for speculative reasons, which, believe it or not, that's all the reasons that all of us in this group adopted it, because we have the privilege of living in a relatively stable country with a relatively stable financial system. So we're just looking at Bitcoin. You're like, oh, that's cool. It's a cool technology. I can get rich maybe. Everyone kind of has that thought, especially when they're getting in, right? But the conversation is 100% different if, you're in one of these countries. Look, the examples in Cuba and in Afghanistan, they're heartbreaking, man. And Afghanistan, when the United States pulled out and the U.S. once again imposed sanctions on the Taliban, Bitcoin was the only thing that was still allowing individuals from the outside to send money to Afghanistan. Bitcoin is allowing some type of small scale capitalism, free market in Cuba. People are using it as a payment. If you send money to Cuba, the government takes it, they take a cut, they take the dollars, and they hand you a shitcoin, right? Now, all of a sudden, right, if I'm in Miami and I have a relative in Cuba and he has a mobile phone, everyone has a mobile phone nowadays in Cuba, right? A good percentage of the population. Now I can circumvent that completely, right? So dude, this is going to change everything. And because we've been living in a fiat world with all the nihilism that comes with the fiat world, I think people are pre-programmed to that nihilism. But MBK has the best handle, man. Deterministic optimism, right? And we've all changed our operating system, all of us. We're all on the Bitcoin mentality. We have hope for a better future. We know we'll be all right. All we got to do is just stay humble, stack sats, earn sats, save those sats, and we'll be fine. We'll be able to provide for our families, the future generations, right? Every movie that's ever been made has been made in the operating system of fiat. It's been a fiat fucking movie. It hasn't been a Bitcoin movie, right? So I think this is a generational change, man. And I don't think we can fully comprehend the type of, Corey Clipson calls it the bright orange future. I don't think we could fully comprehend the type of future that we're all going to be living through, right? Jeff Booth says the next 20 years are going to be radically different than the last, century or whatever, right? We can't fully comprehend that change, right? We are living through the disintermediation of information, and we're also living through the disintermediation of money, and it's happening at the same time. And I think that individuals are the winners here, and I think that nation states, bureaucracies, all these parasitic institutions are the losers here, and holy crap, are they going to put up a fight? They have been already, right? So yeah, man, again, long-winded answer, but it was a really good question, bro.
CP, that's an excellent timed air horn. Opti, do you give lessons? I will pay for your lessons on how to use.
It's something you learn with time. I abuse the air horns as well. You learn by doing. This is the best way to learn. But one thing came to mind.
Hope.
Yeah, there's hope. There's hope. One thing that came to mind when Nico was talking is the safety quote. Where, he said adopting Bitcoin is like adopting gunpowder. You're gonna adopt it because you need it to survive and to fight and to be able to make it through the next stage of where human evolution is going. And so while Bitcoin is opt-in, me and Nico talk about it all the time. For us millennials, it really doesn't seem like we have a choice. It's really how Nico always said, it's like Bitcoin or slavery. And we just covered the G20 passport IDs. And if there wasn't Bitcoin right now, if I wasn't holding Bitcoin, I don't know like how dark and nihilistic I would be looking out into the world and trying to understand what is exactly happening. I forget who said it first, but Bitcoin is true north, and it gives you that like, I call it Bitcoin Zen. Like it gives you that like that ability to take a breath, opt out of the rat race, and then make the next best move. And so while it does look very dark, and while like what we talked before this conversation, you know, you asked us whether people will be able to take self-custody, whether be able to opt into the system. I've been saying for a while, and I know this is a bad meme because Bitcoiners hate Apple products, but we do need to like Applefy Bitcoin products. And I'm not a builder, so I just talk, you know. It's like what WhatsApp did for encryption. We have to developers out there, I can't say we because I don't know how to do that, but find ways to hide the complexities, but also not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so instill these Bitcoin best practices so that, like, you know, your mom and your sister and everyone can just instantly download an app, and now they're working with Bitcoin. It's kind of like what Pine Wallet is doing. I know Moon's been kind of getting some flack lately, but the fact that they're able to hide the complexity so that people are instantly able to get onboarded on Bitcoin, I think is how we continue to spread this Bitcoin revolution. And it's like, let's be honest, you know, while I don't really know everything going on with the internet, I don't know how email works. Like, I'm still able to do it, and I consider myself left side of the bell curve. So it's like, I'm sure we can get to that with Bitcoin because, like, if we're honest, you know, the Bitcoin UX is still kind of hard, but like we take it on as a point of pride where it's like, yeah, you know, like study Bitcoin, you're going to have to learn a new way to interact with the world. While I fully believe this, I still think there is hope out there, and there is, you know, there's room for us to make the Bitcoin experience that much better for the average person out there, so that when they just jump right into Bitcoin, they don't have to think about all the complexities. They're just like, you know, running nodes on their phone, or, you know, their seed word is there for them to back up for them, but they're instantly using Bitcoin, they're instantly using Lightning and Bitcoin, and they have no idea what's going on behind the scenes because, like, I don't know how email works, and I'm able to use it. I don't know how the internet works, and I'm able to use it. While I still believe that we need to ensure the best practices of Bitcoin and do our best to educate people, I don't know if necessarily everyone needs to know, you know, all the complexities of Bitcoin. They just need to know how to use Bitcoin correctly and not wreck themselves.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I'm really excited by the work that is being done, you know, with Block or Spiral's hardware wallet. I think that's really interesting. I think the work with Fedimints, Federated Champion Mints, Obinuwasu's work, their company Fedi, it's super important. And, you know, as I think you just referenced, you know, Odell has said many times, people will use the simplest option. And so the real challenge is, how do you create systems that don't necessarily force people to, you know, take full self-custody and be a Bitcoin, you know, maven immediately, but how can you create this spectrum of offerings that are better than, right now it's basically self-custody or, for the most part, exchange. We've seen how that goes when it comes to exchanges. So, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, the Fedimint thing, that's why it's so fascinating, right? Is like, you know, and the normal analogy would be like something like Proton Mail, right? Where you could sign up to Proton Mail, and dude, you have, like, if you're not tech savvy or whatever, you have no idea. It's completely encrypted. Like, they can't access your, I think the only thing they could access is the subject line of your email, but they can't actually access what's in your email. But it's all the complexity is behind the hood. And for the user, you're just like, oh, it's just a normal email, right? And the reality is that if we don't make self-custody that easy, which is why I'm so bullish on Fedimints, dude, like, some people are just like, you know, like, fuck those 12 words, you know, like it seems too daunting of a task, you know, unless someone's like holding their hand and like, look, this is what it is. And, you know, and it's unfortunate, dude. And I think that like, human nature is definitely something that nation states and governments have perfected at manipulating. And that's definitely something that they're going to use in order to try to funnel as many cattle into the CBDC route, rather than the, you know, take personal responsibility, type of Bitcoin route, because the reality is that one's a lot more convenient than the other, right? And some people they love that convenience, man. And it goes back to that original point that I was saying, like, bro, the bread and circuses here are strong AF, man. Like you live in America, you have to understand that you have so much privilege, right? Like, and you don't really see this unless you come from overseas and you immigrate here. I'm a first generation immigrant, dude. The world, you understand, the world is not like, it doesn't have the privileges and all the things that America has. It doesn't have that 24/7 CVS. It doesn't have those Uber Eats. It doesn't have, it doesn't have that, man. That's a uniquely American thing, right? So, and it softens people, bro. It makes people weak. Like, I can't think of another word, right? So they willingly will step into slavery if it means they get to keep that convenience. And that's the reality that us Bitcoiners have to understand, man. Like, that is, dude, some people like the govern me harder daddy thing. They just do, bro. And that's just a reality. And it goes back to what Q was saying. That's why I'm so bullish on developing countries, because the govern me harder daddy over there is like getting put in front of a firing squad. It's like, no, don't leave me the F alone. I'm cool here. And the story of Nigeria is what makes me really hopeful, because in Nigeria, first of all, you have to backtrack to the United Nations released a report. It says we must de-incentivize the adoption of cryptocurrencies in developing countries. In that, their solution was, we must make the on and off ramps so difficult. We must tax this into oblivion, and we must and we must implement central bank digital currencies to try to stem the flow. Well, the Nigerian government tried doing that, so they launched the e-Naira, right? The e-Naira was a complete failure. 0.5% of the population supposedly used it, and you compare that with 35%. And it's even higher in the youth population.
Wait, when was this?
Dude, this all happened this year. All this news dropped this year. Yeah. And dude, that is a success. That is a success. That is Bitcoin's incentives are winning over their coercion. And like, why are Nigerians picking? To be fair, it unfortunately, cryptocurrencies provide a false sense of financial sovereignty, but it's stable coins, Bitcoin, and shit coins, right? But at least it's a step in the right direction, I guess. But the awesome part about that example is, once again, Bitcoin's incentives are winning over over the incentives, right? And look, a central bank digital currency in Nigeria isn't going to fix 20% inflation. And that's the issue. That's why people are choosing to opt out. It has nothing to do with ease of payments. It has to do with people are sick and tired of being debased. That's what it's all about. And that's something that they'll never mention, that the Future of Money report released by the US Treasury, it never mentions inflation one time. It just mentions we must make payments easier. That's what they're saying. Can you imagine that? There's a report called The Future of Money and Bitcoin is not mentioned once. They're spitting in your face, bro. That's what they're doing. Anyways.
You're absolutely right, of course. They're pissing on your legs and telling us it's raining. It's there was a quote from Lagarde that I was reviewing earlier today, which is like, she's something like, people would rather have jobs than know that their money is safe. I'm butchering it slightly, but it's just like, Jesus, like, what are you talking about? These people are so out of touch. It's really hard not to ascribe malice rather than just incompetence.
Do you know why she's so sour, P?
Why is that?
Opti dumped her.
Oh shit. Dude, I had no idea. That actually makes a lot more sense.
She's going through things, guys. You should give her a break.
That's tough. That's rough. That's really rough. I actually feel for her now. I feel a lot better. Or rather, I understand where she's coming from, I guess.
Opti dated her or because he broke up with her?
Well,
Can it be both?
You don't know what I know, but
oh God.
her
All right.
friends are no good, people.
Where do you guys think we go from here? Where do you think, and I'll refine this question. We've seen record outflows from exchanges. People are being forced to understand something that we've been preaching, four of us, for years now, which is, not your keys, not your coin. But because of these cascading blowups, we've seen record outflows from exchanges in terms of Bitcoin. People are finally starting to get it, more out of fear than anything else. But my question, the first part of this question is, do you think that this blow up, when we look back 6 months from now, do you think that the average person will be, maybe I was going to say, will the average person be more likely to self-custody their own coins? But that's kind of an easy answer. But do you think that the dominant paradigm, the dominant understanding, the zeitgeist will be like, obviously you have to custody your own coins? And in my opinion, it's not there now. Right now, within the Bitcoin focus, it's like, yes, people hear that, they understand it. But like in the larger quote unquote crypto space, people are not thinking that way. Do you think that within 6 months that will have changed?
No, I think history is just repeating itself. It's just like this same thing happened, Mt. Gox, 2017, 2018. This is history repeating itself. But the fundamental difference is that the explosions are that much bigger, right? Like it's like giant Core Scientific out of business. Oh my God, FTX are donating to a very powerful political party in the United States. Oh my God, it's like could you imagine the blowups next cycle? Holy crap. Like it's going to involve like a nation state. It's going to involve a country, right? Like this is where we are now. So the awesome part is that every time I kind of like, in the way that I see it in my head, is like I visualize it as waves, right? And every time one of these waves crash, a percentage of those people get burnt so hard that you have a new class of newly minted hardcore Bitcoin maxis, right? And then the wave will start to come up again, and it will start. But every single wave that hits, you get a bigger and bigger class, right? So hopefully it gets to a point where the amount of Bitcoin maxis that exist, or just Bitcoiners, better said, that exist, starts to be vocal enough where you start reaching into the mainstream consciousness. And I already believe this is happening, by the way. So you had Marty Bent going on, what's that guy from The Blaze? I forget what his name.
Tucker Carlson?
Yeah.
Jeff Beck.
Glenn Beck, right? Mm-hmm. You have Natalie Burnell piercing into mainstream media, right? You have her on Fox Business. You have Nayib Bukele and Tucker Carlson going on the second most popular broadcaster in the world. Tucker Carlson, 3 million views per episode, right? So you're already starting to have these ideas pierce into mainstream consciousness. Hopefully, I think that every time one of these cycles happen, more and more people will learn their lessons. But do I believe, and I think this is I think this is the part that kind of worries me a little bit, P. I think that Ethereum isn't going anywhere. They're so well funded, so well entrenched, that you're going to have two opposing parties. Basically, you're going to have the Bitcoiners saying, look, financial sovereignty, 21 million hard cap, freedom. And I really believe that Ethereum is going to ally with the state. They haven't said anything. And we know right now that 78% of Ethereum validators are actively censoring for the Office of Foreign Asset Control, which is part of the US Treasury, which, by the way, sanctioned open source software for the first time in its history, which led to the arrest of an open source software developer. Forget about SBF. No, we can't arrest that guy. But this open source dev, he belongs in jail right next to Ross. Like, dude, like you're dealing with very, very evil people, bro. Like I can't think of another way to describe them. And yeah, man, but hopefully, like I said, hopefully there's enough pain this cycle that it creates a newly minted class of hardcore Bitcoiners that join our side in the fight.
Yeah, it is truly atrocious or abominable, however you want to say it, that the open source developers of, for example, as you mentioned, Tornado Cash, who have not done anything illegal other than created a tool, a technological tool, an app even, that helps to preserve your God-given right for privacy, and that person is in jail, versus SBF, who has 100% defrauded millions of people, and he's fine, and he probably will be.
Yep. It's unfortunate. For sure.
Yep. Okay. So how do you think the rest of this contagion situation plays out? Do you think that there will be additional blowups of very well-known names? You know, it sounds like Gemini is kind of, people are, you know, side-eyeing Gemini. Their earn product got fucked. What do you think happens next? Do you think there's additional large
Can I
players
ask a
that
better
blow up?
question?
It depends. Well, you can
Same
frame it if it's
vein-
not better.
Same
Okay.
vein, but just a better question than that.
I'll allow it, counselor, but watch yourself.
So this week we've seen crypto.com start to slowly implode. We've seen Gemini Earn start to slowly implode. We saw last week on the tail ends of this FTX debacle, Prime Trust started its own mini implosion, if you will.
No, I think
And-
that's a stretch. Prime Trust
Right,
is still.
They needed to do something in order to make up losses that they felt as a result of the Alameda blowup, which
Yeah,
in
but that's
turn
just.
affected Strike and Swan customers.
Yeah, but I think categorizing them as a
Contagion.
blow up. Too
Fine,
much.
not a blow up, but there is a contagion effect that impacted
Okay.
Swan and Strike customers.
Yeah.
At this point, if I'm keeping score, correct me if I'm wrong, Cash App, any of these non KYC options, obviously, Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, like those are the only exchanges I can think of off the top of my head that haven't gotten contagioned. So my question, actually, the way I want to frame this is, have we seen the worst of it? And if it can be worse than what we've seen, what could that possibly be?
Man, it could be an absolute bloodbath. I'll put it to you this way. I don't think Kraken's going anywhere. I don't think Binance is going anywhere. I don't think Coinbase is going anywhere. I don't think Gemini is going anywhere. Just because, specifically Gemini, the way that if you were, they got the bit license, bro. You know, like they jumped through the hoops to get that. So I don't think those exchanges are vulnerable, but like an exchange like KuCoin, for example, exchange like crypto.com, for example, yeah, they could totally go under. I would be surprised to see Binance go under, because it's funny, because Binance does exactly what FTX does. They're just a bigger player, right? They manipulate the trading for the BNB token, making its value rise, and then CZ is using that as a total slush fund, man. He's literally printing money, right? Like it's a total fucking scam. I keep cursing, I'm sorry, but yeah, no, I just don't believe those guys are going anywhere. But I'll tell you this, anything could happen. Right? 6 months ago, no one believed that FTX was bad, right? Who's to say a lot of these exchanges aren't cooking their books too? They aren't doing exactly the same thing, right? But at the end of the day, like, look, if you're just a humble pleb, if you've just been following Odell's perfect advice, staying humble, stacking sats, sending that to cold storage, dude, Armageddon could happen outside, and it doesn't matter. You'll be all right, right? And I think that's really the message, right? Is, look, all of that shit's noise. Don't trust anybody with your Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin, earn Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, and send that immediately into self-custody. Forget about it, you know, and just keep mining fiat, bro, whatever that is. You know, whatever your fiat mining gig is, just keep doing that and keep growing your stack. Because, like, bro, like, look, even if Binance disappears, even if Coinbase disappears, what does it matter to you? Like, yeah, the short-term price goes down. Sweet, cheaper sats. This is great fucking news. I was so happy this thing went on. I was so happy this thing hit 15K, bro. It was like, yes, I get $15,800 Bitcoin. Like, holy crap, that's really, really awesome. You know, so yeah, I mean, I don't think those huge exchanges will go down, but anything is possible. And if you're just a humble pleb, it won't affect you. And I think that's the big message here.
So you're right, and then you're wrong. You're right that
Q is
I
spicy
think-
today.
Dude,
I like
I've
it.
been
like it.
silenced for days. I've been sitting here on so many takes, and like this is something I don't see talked about enough. But I will start with what you're right. You're absolutely right that buy your Bitcoin, custody it yourself, and none of this fucking matters. My limit orders that were getting hit on the way down on this down leg were just like chef's kiss. You're absolutely right. For tried and true hardcore, like with an eye on 20, 30, 50 years in the future, this is what you've been salivating and waiting for. This is why we've been stacking dollars. Where I think you're wrong is I think Coinbase especially is actually one that I have circled. I am waiting. I'm nervous about. And it's not because they're doing something like, oh, with our staking position, we took out a loan. It's simply the fact that they have such a large staking position. We know time and time again, we talk about it on this, like, please, for the love of God, stop buying Bitcoin on leverage. I'm fully convinced at this point that the only reason we did not get six-figure Bitcoin on this market cycle is because the market itself was not going to allow that high of a Bitcoin price. Should it have reached that high, there would just have been too much paper Bitcoin and not enough real Bitcoin available. Like that just mathematically checks out. And so unfortunately, all you leverage degenerates are holding us up a little bit. Now, this situation with FTX, to bring it all the way back there, was leverage on a token they created. So if I just take these two pieces of information, Bitcoiners go and buy Bitcoin on leverage, and you have exchanges that will go and get loans out against random tokens, not just Bitcoin now, but random tokens. Who's to say all of these businesses that have built on top of ETH didn't take out a business loan or two that tied their operations and their loan to ETH at a certain price, so that all of a sudden you could get this weird contagion. If the price of Ether goes below certain levels, all of a sudden you have that contagion slowly unwind. And next thing you know, Coinbase, the second largest staker of ETH, somehow has to unwind their position because their users are like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Only to then unravel the fact that you can't unstake anything because ETH doesn't allow you anymore, because that has now come full circle to being a full-blown Ponzi as well. So,
Dude, so it's interesting, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Q, because look, and I've picked up a pattern. The exchanges that have put themselves in trouble happen to be the exchanges that have dabbled in shitcoins. The exchanges that kept to Bitcoin only, you don't hear much. Right? And I don't think that's a coincidence, right? Now, in the case of Coinbase potentially getting themselves in trouble, dude, 100%. I think Gemini can get itself in trouble. I think Coinbase can get itself in trouble. I think Binance can get themselves in trouble, but not so much because of the accounting prices, the accounting practices, or the lack of integrity or principles in those businesses. But they can get themselves in trouble because of exactly what you said, Q. Because they've exposed themselves to shit. Okay? And when you expose yourself to shit, you get shit results, right? Because I don't see, dude, the Bitcoin only exchange, bro, nothing happened. It's like, oh, okay. Strike and Swan, they fixed the price discrepancy eventually, right? They were on top of that. But all the exchanges that dealt with shit got shit results, right? It was Gemini, Binance, et cetera, Coinbase. But I'll tell you what, guys, right? And it's bittersweet, okay? Because if Coinbase goes under, right, that is a catastrophe for the price. The good news is you get cheaper sats, right?
yeah.
Remember that Mt. Gox, bro? The Mt. Gox, and that was the exchange. There was nothing else at that point, right? When that went under, dude, it took years for the price to recover. But, dude, that's years of cheap Bitcoin that gives people the opportunity to stack. So, yeah, dude, look, at the end of the day, look, and I know all you guys are, so I don't feel bad. All you guys are just taking self-custody, leaving that in cold storage. So be it. Coinbase goes under. I don't care. I got my Bitcoin. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me. But I'll also say this, because I don't want to be a total douche. I'm sure there's a lot of people that they're doing exactly what they did with FTX. Oh, I'll just leave it on Coinbase. It's safe there. I got 2FA.
This time's different.
And this time's different. I got a strong password. I'll be all right. But hey, Q, maybe that is the necessary lesson Maybe that needs to happen so that enough people wake up to the fact that not your keys, not your Bitcoin. So yeah, man.
You're absolutely right. Like, these are lessons. Like, how expensive of this lesson, how expensive is this course going to be for you to learn the lesson?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Opti. They're always
Well,
optimistic.
I mean, first to your first point, and hopefully my internet isn't breaking out on me, but I think to the first point of, you know, who else is going to wind up dead bodies down the river? What do I know? I'm just an average Bitcoiner that takes Bitcoin into self-custody, but it is very coincidental that CZ knew exactly what buttons to push to pop FTX. I mean, I don't want to be the in-house tinfoil hat wearer, but it's almost like he knew exactly what was going on over there, because maybe anyways, to the point of like, it's just human psychology, you know, like humans only learn best when they put their own hand on the stove. And when Nico was talking, like there's this saying out there, it's like, what is it? It's like wise people learn from observing others, and the average person just learns by doing. So hopefully this time is different and more people do learn the mistakes of this last FTX debacle. But we are Bitcoiners that have been around for a while, and it seems like all the new Bitcoin entrants don't even know what happened with Mt. Gox. So while we are learning these lessons right now, I think the lessons will be forgotten soon, and everyone will think, oh, this one's different, this one's regulated, this exchange has all the right accolades, and I can keep my Bitcoin there. Like, I was seeing people on Twitter just the other day saying the same things about other exchanges, and then there was a scare literally like 4 hours later. So I think humans, we said in the beginning, you know, we like to trade convenience over everything, and so people will continue to leave their Bitcoin on exchanges. And hopefully we have learned from this lesson, but I think this next cycle we'll see some more things blow up. But hopefully at this point, this FTX debacle was such a, you know, had made such an amount of waves out there that people will wake up to the idea that it's Bitcoin and everything else is a shitcoin, to take Bitcoin into self-custody, that self-custody is the revolution, that the only way you are going to be able to withstand all this craziness is by taking your Bitcoin into cold storage, you know, writing down your 12 to 24 words, and not getting wrecked. And like Nico's saying, you know, and everyone's saying, you can just sit by and watch the fireworks and stack cheap sats. But hey, if Coinbase does go down, like that's going to look bad for everyone in the industry. And I say it all the time, like shitcoiners make us all look bad. So we need to continue to get these best practices out there and do whatever we can to get people to take their Bitcoin into self-custody, not leave Bitcoin on these exchanges, because who knows who else is going to blow up soon. But I think we could be fairly certain that someone else will blow up, whether it's now, whether it's in a year or two. We know that they're playing shitcoin games, and they're basically recreating the worst parts of the legacy system on my blockchain, and we're the ones that are dealing with it. Because if people understood what we understood, you know, if there was less paper Bitcoin out there, then Bitcoin would have been able to go to all these moon prices that we were all hoping for last cycle. But obviously there's way more paper Bitcoin out there than even we could have imagined. And this is why FTX is blowing up. They had what, like billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin on paper, and they end up having like, what was it, like 1 Bitcoin left on their balance sheet. So
they had a whole Bitcoin left? I thought they had
I
none.
think they're done. But like when the first numbers came out, they had like 1 Bitcoin left. And so I think we can be fairly certain that there is other exchanges out there that are playing these hot potato games. I don't know if you guys saw the memes of like the proof of reserves out there, where they're like, yeah, all they're doing is taking screenshots of the proof of reserves, and then they're sending it to another exchange and they're taking the screenshots. And it's like everyone's playing hot potato with that Bitcoin because they're all running fractional Bitcoin. And obviously the price is paying that price because there's so much paper Bitcoin out there that they're manipulating the price.
Yeah, it's totally bullshit. If you don't hold your own keys, you don't have Bitcoin, you have an IOU. And as we've seen, those IOUs are duplicated and shared around. And that's what we mean when we say paper Bitcoin. What is the current status of the funds that were, you know, hacked from FTX.
And they're gone.
It's,
Right? Like, they're all gone.
it's on the ETH
it's all
chain
gone.
now, and we're just waiting for Lord Vitalik himself to roll back the ETH chain for the good of the community.
There we go. There we go. But yes, the timing of that was just insane. We were talking about it last night, but is very, very shortly after they announced that they were insolvent, magically they got hacked, and then quote unquote, and all those funds, all the customer funds that were locked up were stolen, quote unquote, and then sold into ETH, and yeah.
I think they're now the 35th largest holders of ETH.
Mm-hmm.
That may have changed since I last looked at the numbers, but
Wow,
Lord
they suck at
Vitalik,
their
help the
jobs.
community.
You're gonna rob people and only finishes the 35th richest ETH bag holder. Like, what losers?
You got a question from the audience, Q, and I think you should. I think you should do something about the price.
No, I can't. I can't smash buy until I can have surgery.
Steady lads, deploying capital.
Actually, that's
God.
Yellow's job. He has access to this Bitcoin CEO. So
Can you
Yeah.
tell him to come back here? I've been trying to get in touch with Yellow all day. Like, I have
Here,
a question.
hold on. I can unmute him. He will start yelling. Yellow, you are wanted.
What? Why you want?
They want you to tell them about the prophecy. Pump the price, Yellow.
Yeah. 23rd of December. Note it down as the date the prophecy continues, okay?
You heard it here first.
Guys, I have breaking news. The
Opti, when
CEO.
are you coming back? Like, Lono has thrown up everywhere. Like, Andres is like freaking out here in the car. Like, what the fuck? Where are you coming back, man?
I'll be back soon. Stay alive, Yellow. I'll be back soon.
Okay.
oh man.
Oh God! All right, my friends.
Wait, you have to ask them the most important question because these two have not been asked the most important question we ask PM Live guests.
Are we talking about Marry Fuck Kill?
I'm talking
Let's
about
do it, dude. You let me out of the cage, man. I feel like every time I try to ask this, you're like, "Stop being insane." All right, here's the
Yeah,
deal.
but these are our friends. Like, I don't mind you being like in
Look,
front
you
of
may not
like,
be friends with our guests, but I am. That's on you. That's not them. I send flowers to every single one. I send some Skittles, all the wrong colors taken out. They're good to go. Here's the question. Nico. Marry, fuck, kill. Jerome Powell, Christine Lagarde, Janet Yellen.
Like who did I smash?
Marry, fuck, kill.
fuck, kill.
You gotta
And just
marry one of them.
know
You gotta
there-
kill one of
there's
them.
one correct answer.
No. Shh.
Oh,
Q, we can't spoil the results.
No, because Opti has to go after.
Okay, so you gotta marry one, you gotta kill one, and then you gotta smash one. Okay.
Yes.
Definitely marry Christine Lagarde for sure.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
Oof, not gonna make it.
Um,
Opti, who are you going to marry?
Yeah, let's do it both.
Obviously, Jan Yellen for the culture.
Okay.
Ooh,
Wow.
Okay.
All right. So obviously, let me go first because Nico's having a
yeah,
hard
but
time.
that's not
No,
fair.
we're going one
bro.
at a time, Opti.
Oh, we're going one at a time. Okay.
So you've each stated who you're going to marry. Now state who you want to fuck.
Well, I already did
Opti
my
already
business with
did
my
that.
ex-girlfriend.
Opti already smashed Christine.
So are you going to fuck her again, or like, are you going to go back? Are you going to backslide, or are you going to just kill her?
dude.
Like, you're
I'll go
done?
back. I'll backslide easily. Yeah.
All right.
You know,
And then you'll kill Papa Powell.
kill. Yeah.
All
It's
right, Nico?
it's more of a I don't
Are you gonna fuck
swing the
Papa
other side of
Powell?
the fences.
I mean, okay, this is all fantasy, whatever.
No, this is real, bro. 100% real.
Nico,
Meme
are
it
you
into
coming out of the
reality,
closet,
Nico.
bro?
Oh man. I would
Nico's about to
take
come out
one.
of
I
the
would
closet.
take one for the team. Yellen, the one night stand.
You'd fuck Yellen, and then you.
Dude, I would
so you're
take
both gonna
Yellen
kill.
and Christine Lagarde at the same night for the culture.
Now
I'm
that is a good
so
answer.
disgusted.
That's a great answer.
I'm
No.
disgusted.
So previously, the correct answer has been Powell, right? Because you marry Powell because
The
Powell
correct answer
controls-
is always marry Jerome Powell because you marry the money printer. What's half of Infinity,
I don't want
guys?
anything to do with that, dude.
No. I think Opti may have taken the cake here. It's for the culture. You got to do it for the culture, bro.
But it doesn't
Got to.
count.
Dude,
It
you
doesn't
take
count.
Christine Lagarde,
The combined weight and age
Janet
of both of them
Yellen
is
one
like
night, and you
older
let the
than
boy
Pete.
Jay Powell watch.
Yeah, see, now we are talking. See, Q, this is what you need in a co-host, someone who one-ups you at every single turn. Opti, what are you doing later?
Hanging out with you.
Oh, my friends, this has been great.
This has been great.
Did we just witness like a live trading of humans in
That's what just happened.
2022?
That's what just happened.
So we just traded P for Opti. I mean, P for Nico at Bitcoin Magazine. Nico, you are now a full-time employee of Bitcoin Magazine.
Oh God.
All right, my friends, what are we doing next?
You're gonna come on Simply Bitcoin. You guys are both gonna come on Simply Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
It'll be a lot tamer than what this nightmare was,
hey,
right?
I promise nothing.
You think Simply Bitcoin is more tame than this, bro? Woo.
I am unleashed on Simply Bitcoin.
I am full Nico Jones, bro. The demons are coming. That's me every fucking day on that show.
I love it. I love it.
Oh man. Guys, I love you both.
We're at that time.
You guys are amazing.
For the uninitiated, how can they hear your sultry voices, continue to hear your incredible takes, and know every silly thing that Opti is up to?
Guys, you could find us on Simply Bitcoin. Search us anywhere. You'll find us. And every day, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're right before Bitcoin Magazine Live, so it could be like a little pre-party before these gentlemen's show. Guys, love you both. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Love the show like always. Chris in the background. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Shouts out the best producer in the game, Chris.
Full stop.
Oh man.
And
It was all
on
Opti.
that note, I want to remind everyone listening to please go and buy a ticket to Miami. Use the promo code BMLive to get 10% off. And of course, if you check out with Bitcoin, you'll get an additional discount. Just stack some sats and then spend them right away. And then, of course, the print magazine, the latest edition, the Orange Party issue is coming out this week. Get your subscription at the Bitcoin Magazine store using the promo code BMLive to get 10% off of that and anything your heart desires. That's a wrap because I need to go rest.